Hello children, welcome to the first language English class. In today's class, we will be learning the fifth poem, A Poison Tree, which has been written by William Blake. The power of a sun can kill, and the power of foe can burn. The power of wind can chill, and the power of mind can learn. Now children, I want you to add more lines to this beautiful poem. Now maybe you can add words which will show a lot of other expressions like happiness, then glee, then fear. You can add your own lines to these lines. This has been beautifully written by an American musician. Now I am not going to give you the full poem now. At the end of the class, you can see what is the rest of the poem. So it will be continued at the end. Now let us quickly learn a few things about our author of today's poem. Who is he? It is William Blake. Now William Blake lived between 1757 and 1827. He was a pre-Romantic period English writer. Now during those times there was a lot of unrest in the society. That was the time when there was a lot of revolutions going on. You would have heard of the French Revolution. So that was the time when he lived. So there was a lot of unrest in the society when he lived. That was before the Romantic period. And basically he did not have any formal schooling. He had an ability to see the world of God behind the physical world, which made him a mystic poet. So most people called him a mystic poet. Now children, please remember that William Blake's works did not become popular when he was alive. It was only after his life that his work became very, very popular and people started recognizing him as a good poet. Now this is one of the originals which is available in the world today. It is in London's museum, one of the museums of London. It is the original of the poem with which William Blake's illustration is found, which means the drawing that you see on this poem here has been done by William Blake himself, who was also a painter. He was also an artist. Now let us learn new words that come up in this poem today. Now as you see, I have already put up so many words, but let us look at them one by one. The first word is wrath. Some people also pronounce it as wrath. So I would like to pronounce it as wrath. They saw the floods as a divine wrath. It means they saw the floods as a divine anger. It means God was angry. So what is the meaning of the word wrath? It means anger. As you can see, this picture here is telling us that it is very, very angry. Let us look at the next word, foe. It means enemy. It takes courage to treat a friend and a foe alike. So it is very difficult for us to treat a friend as well as a foe or an enemy on the same plane. Wiles. It means tricks. She had to use all her wiles to convince her sister to do the work. The next word is behold. Her face was a joy to behold. Now here behold means see. Now this is an archaic way of using the word see, which means today it is not used other than in literature or in poetry. We don't use this word behold. It is an archaic word. Outstretched. It means extended or stretched out, but in this poem it means lying dead. Now let us look at the usage here. She had an envelope in her outstretched hand. The next word is pole. It refers to the pole star or the northern pole star. It can be used in a sentence like this. Navigators used the pole star to be guided on the sea. Now you can see the picture, the pole star never changes its position. That is the reason why navigators used it for guiding them on the sea. Now there is a reference to an apple in the poem. Here it is a possible allusion to the forbidden fruit which comes in the Bible. Now let us listen to the poem, children. A Poison Tree, written by William Blake. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it with smiles, and with soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. Now let us enjoy the beauty of this poem, children. I hope you heard this. Now it is time for us to enjoy the poem and also understand it. Now let us see the rhyming words, which are the easiest because you have been doing them all through. So what are the various rhyming words that you see here? Now let us see them one by one. Now there are couplets. As you see, there are couplets in the poem. The first couplet has the lines, I was angry with my friend, I told my wrath did end. So the rhyming words here are friend and end. Similarly, in the second couplet, you have the words foe and grow. Let us see what are the next set of rhyming words. In the third couplet, we have fears, tears. The fourth one, can you tell me? Yes, it is smiles, whiles. The fifth one has, very good, night and bright. What about the sixth one? Yes, very good, shine, mine. Yes, two more are left. Help me with it, children. Seventh couplet has stole, pole, good. And the eighth one has sea and tree. When we see that there are rhyming words, obviously the next thing that comes to our mind is the rhyme scheme. So the rhyme scheme here is generally, we say it is AABB. Now here we see that when we write the ABCD of the letters here next to the rhyming words, we get it as AA, BB, CC, DD, and the next four I want you to complete. So this mind map will, I think, give you a very clear picture of what are the various rhyming words and also the rhyme scheme that you find in this poem. Now let us see quickly some of the points that you have to remember here regarding this particular concept. Now the rhyme scheme here is very simple, and this simplicity of the rhyme scheme is what makes this poem to have the quality of a nursery rhyme, which means it is very, very simple for us to even remember and memorize it. Yes, children, at this point I would like to mention to you that this poem is there for memorization. You have to learn it by rote. You do not have to really struggle because of the simplicity, you will be easily able to memorize it. Now, why has the poet kept the rhyming scheme very simple? The reason is, yes, he intends to push the moral to the front or to the fore, so that we concentrate more on what message he wants to give to us through this poem. Now, there are some symbols in this poem which adds to the moral implications also. So, the simplicity and these symbols help us to learn the moral behind this poem. So, let us see one by one what are the symbols that Blake has used here. He has used the garden as a symbol. Now, what is it going to show to us? It represents the speaker's mind. Yes, here children, these lines, for example, here it says, I watered it in fierce night and morning, these lines, along with it and into my garden stole, which comes in the last stanza. These tell us that garden has been a symbol. Now, this represents the speaker's mind, and though this garden seems to be protected, the speaker here in the poem is able to attract the enemy into his mind through in the last stanza. Now, what is the next symbol that he is using? He is using tree as a symbol. So, through the stanzas, the poet is talking about this tree. Now, what does it symbolize? It is a representation of the speaker's anger. So, he has been growing this anger in him, which has grown into a huge tree. He has seeded it, and then it has grown into a huge tree, even giving rise to an apple. Now, this alludes to the tree of knowledge mentioned in the Bible. Now, just like how the apple is a reference to the allusion in the Bible, here also the tree refers to the tree of knowledge, which is alluded, which is mentioned in the Bible. Now, here is a third symbol. What is this, children? A beautiful, bright, red apple. Tasty, isn't it? Sweet, isn't it? Yes, but be careful. Here the poet is not giving you a sweet apple. It is bright and attractive for sure, but it is a poisonous fruit in this poem. What does the poet intend to do with it? He intends to kill his foe. Now, there is another school of thought which thinks of these symbols like this. Yes, the garden is Blake's mind, right? What does the tree stand for? The tree here stands for Blake's knowledge. That is what they say, that in the Blake's mind there was lot of beautiful and creative knowledge present that came out as a fruit. The red and beautiful apple refers to Blake's works. Here it is an allusion, again alludes to the concept that Blake's knowledge was being stolen by somebody, and that is how through the lines of the poem, when you read some of the lines, you can make out that he was angry probably with someone who was stealing his own knowledge, and they were using his own work, and at the end of it, when they happened to come out into the open, and when the society came out to know that person who was plagiarizing his work had outstretched in the society, Blake was happy. So, this is one school of thought which thinks that this poem has been written by Blake indirectly targeting those people who were stealing his own work. Now, let us move to the literal meaning of the text which you have to focus on. Now, let us see another poetic device, that is the figure of speech. What are the figures of speech that come in this poem here? The first one is alliteration. So, what is alliteration? Yes, as you have already studied this, I will quickly move through the definition of this, and then we will see some of the examples. They are consonant sounds that appear at the beginning of closely placed words. Children, please be alert. You have to identify the consonant sounds that appear at the beginning of closely placed words. So, now the example, the words that have these consonantal sounds in the beginning, wrath and wrath. So, sund, smiles, bore, bright. So, all these appear in the beginning of the words, and these words are closely placed in a sentence. So, this is how we can actually make out the alliteration. Now, moving on, we have another figure of speech, the consonants. Now, what is consonants then? Now, it is the repetition of consonant sounds appearing elsewhere in closely placed words, which means it is not only in the beginning. If it is in the beginning, it is alliteration. If it is elsewhere in the word, then refer to it as consonants. I was angry with my friend. So, you can see those words which are highlighted, which are put in bold, are the words which have these consonant words, and you see their placement. It need not be only in the beginning, it is almost even to the end. So, in the friend, told, did, end. So, you have the consonantal sound d there. So, this is how we can identify the consonants. So, henceforth wherever you come across such figures of speech, please identify them, children. Now, there is another important concept which Blake wants to put through. He has made beautiful use of extended metaphor. Now, what is this extended metaphor and what is this idea of extended metaphor that Blake has brought in here? Yes, he has brought in the concept of the growth of the tree. So, he says, my wrath did grow. That is what he says in the beginning. In the first stanza he says. In the second stanza he says, I watered it, I sunned it, and then it grew. So, he is bringing in the concept of the growth of a tree. Now, what does he want to tell us through this? What is he equating this with? He is trying to equate this with the growth of the anger that he has suppressed in his heart. Anger is growing like what? Like a tree. So, here he is trying to bring in an extended metaphor. So, through the poem he is going on bringing the concept of a metaphor, but then he is extending it through the poem here. Now, let us see in the poem what happens. He does not stop at simply extending the metaphor, but this extended metaphor even shows us that he is trying to use an allegory here. Now, what does he want to tell us here? Now, this concept, it moves from something personal, that is he or the speaker in the poem being angry with his enemy does not just stop there. Now, look at this picture here, children. What has happened? The anger that he has harbored in his heart against an enemy, what has it turned out into? It has turned out into a huge tree. Likewise, what can happen in the world? Anger can develop into war. Don't you think so? Yes, he is also suggesting that something very personal can also be taken to the societal level, or it can even be made a universal concept, wherein when you harbor anger and you feed it continuously, it can develop into war. It will lead to war. So, most of the countries, this is how things will brew. Now, remember, it was those times when there was lot of revolution going on, the society was in chaos, there was lot of problems, and Blake could not tell all this outrightly, or he could not be open with his thoughts. So, he tried to put his political ideas also through this extended metaphor, which can be made universal. Now, it is not only during his times, this is applicable even to this day. So, it is a universal concept which he has brought in his poem. Now, let us quickly check our comprehension, children. Look at this question. What happened when the speaker expressed his anger? What happened? The first two lines of the poem tell us that the anger ended when the speaker expresses anger. So, there was no scope for heartburns. It did not grow into a tree. When he was angry with his friend, he openly told his friend that I am angry with you for such and such a reason, and the matter was closed. What happened next was, let us see, what happened when the speaker suppressed his anger. Remember, he expressed in the first instance, here he is suppressing it. He is not telling it out. So, what happened then? Yes, when the speaker suppressed his anger, it only grew. It grew into what? A tree, as you see in the poem. Who is the speaker in the poem? A man, a woman, a child. Yes, children, see, till now we have told that William Blake has written this poem and probably it is his own idea we have been saying. So, in that instance you will say it is a man, but is it only a man? No, it can be anyone. Just now I told you that it can be universalized, which means anybody can put themselves in the shoes of the speaker in the poem. Though the poem has been written by Blake, anybody can be in that place. It can be you, it can be me, or it can be anybody else. If we put ourselves in that place, if we are expressive of our anger, there will be no problem. But if we suppress our anger, all of us will have a tree and an apple tree, a poisonous apple tree in our minds. So, that is what Blake wants to tell us here. Now, let us see what is the setting of the poem. Now, what do you mean by the setting? Where is it actually happening? Now, I have spoken of the symbol. So, if you have been observant of what I have told you, it will be easy for you to answer this question. Now, where is the action taking place in the poem? Yes, the action is taking place in a garden. And where is the garden, children? And that garden is in the mind of the speaker. So, I am not using the word poet because here we will take it as a universal concept and I am using the word speaker. What does the speaker see in the morning? This comes in the last stanza. What did he see? Who was there? Outstretched. Yes, the speaker sees his foe lying dead below the apple tree. Now, why was he lying dead below the apple tree? Can you guess? What had he done? What had the foe done? He had eaten the poisonous apple. That is why he was lying dead there. The two contrasting ideas projected in the poem are, what are the two ideas that have been projected, children? I suppose till now I have explained to you. Yes, come on, let us see. The speaker is angry with his friend. Yes, the speaker is angry in one instance with his friend. So, in the other, the speaker is angry with his foe. So, he is angry with the foe. Now, let us see what is the idea going to take us further into. The speaker reveals his anger to his friend. So, the speaker is angry and he has told his friend. In the second instance, he has concealed his anger from his foe. What has happened in the first instance? The problem is resolved. In the next instance, the problem grows. So, here you can see the chain of actions, reactions. Speaker angry, he reveals to his friend, problem resolved. In the next instance, speaker is angry but conceals the anger and problem grows. So, these are the two contrasting ideas that are projected in the poem by the poet. So, now let us quickly recapitulate. This poem tells us the effect of suppressed feelings. So, if we harbor ill feelings in our heart, what will happen? This is what is told. The poet is angry with his friend and he talks about it with him and his anger ends. In the second instance, the poet is angry with his enemy and he does not express it. So, what happens? His anger goes on growing. So, every time the poet thinks out of fear or with anguish about his enemy, his anger grows. When he smiles in front of the enemy, just because he is afraid to show his anger and keeps plotting against him, his anger grows all the more. The anger grows to such an extent that it becomes an apple tree in the poet's garden. Where is the garden? In the poet's mind. Now, remember the bright red attractive fruit that is growing, it has grown out of bitterness. So, it is very poisonous. The enemy sees this beautiful bright apple one day. He knows that it belongs to the poet. What does he do? He deliberately comes at night when the night sky is cloudy, when the moon is actually not seen or there is no light, and he steals it. He steals the apple. The enemy dies upon eating the apple. The poet is glad, he is happy to see this sight, that his enemy is lying dead under the tree. Now, but the poison tree has remained in the mind of the poet. So, what has happened to the poet's mind? It has killed him too spiritually. He is also dead spiritually because he has harbored so much of bitterness in his mind that henceforth whatever he sees, he has a poison tree. So, obviously, he cannot remain a calm and peaceful person. So, any ill quality, what will it do? It will not only harm the other person, but it will harm the person who is having it in the first instance. So, remember children, this is the moral message that Blake wants to give us, that do not harbor any kind of an ill feeling. Now, here is the home assignment for you. I hope you will do it, children. Come on, you need to complete the summary by filling the gaps. I shall read it slowly for you. Please write it down. Are you ready? Yes. Shall I start? Good. Start. Once the poet was angry with his friend. He expressed his dash and it ended. They became friendly. But when he grew angry with his foe, he dashed it and allowed his anger to grow. Day and night he watered it with his tears, allowing it to grow. He dashed his foe with false smiles and cunning tricks. The tree kept growing and yielded a bright red apple, which dashed his foe to eating it stealthily during the night. The next morning, the poet was happy to see his foe lying dash under the tree. Now, write down the next question, children. The one who dies at the end of the poem is the speaker's foe, the speaker himself, or both the speaker and his foe. I want you to use your critical analysis. Now, if you think it's only the speaker's foe, write why. If you think it's the speaker, write why. If you think it's both the speaker and his foe, give your reasons for that too, children. Now, here is a set of phrases with its meanings. You have to match them. The first one is sunned it with smiles. The second phrase is watered it in fears. The third one is deceitful wiles. Fourth one, veiled the pole. Now, here are the meanings which you have to match with them. Do it. Cunning tricks, cloudy night, hiding anger behind a pleased expression, scared of consequences. I hope you will be able to do this, children. Now, here is the full poem which has been written by our American musician. Now, I shall read it to you. We shall end it on a positive note, but I want you to try and extend the middle lines of this poem and try to enjoy writing a poem. The power of a sun can kill and the power of foe can burn. The power of wind can chill and the power of mind can learn. The power of anger can rage inside until it tears you apart. But the power of a smile, especially yours, can heal a frozen heart. So, children, keep smiling while you learn, and thank you for being patient listeners. Take care, children. Bye.